I'm Spanish. I'm originally from Spain. And I just did a degree in English studies because I really like literature. And I thought that the best way to access original content was through the original source. So in English, it was in this case. Because translations are great, but sometimes they're not so great. So that was when, the point of I need to do English started. So after I finished the degree, I went to do a master's in literature, American literature, actually, in the UK. And at this point, I've always wanted to be a writer, but never did I think that it was actually a thing. I thought that, being a writer was pretty much being like broke all the time and like Edgar Allan Poe, and it's a bit haunted and it's a bit miserable, all of that. So I wasn't like really sure I could make it work. So I thought I'll just settle for being a teacher. So I just went in and started teaching both Spanish and French, although I don't really speak French. So that's another story. But I was teaching both Spanish and French in the UK for like 3 years. And in 2019, I helped a friend of mine with a website he had, because he had a pop-up type restaurant or, a pop-up truck type of thing where he would make food. And his website was really sad looking. And I was quite shocked because I thought, well, you're also British. Like, why are you struggling so much with words? And he was like, well, I was never really good with them. And I was like, well, I can then give you a hand and write it and make it look like you want people to come see you as opposed to drive them away. I thought that would be good for business. Turns out I was right. So I gave him a hand with that and then socials. And I didn't know at this point what a copywriter was. I hadn't watched Mad Men. I didn't know anything about anything. So I was like, okay, this is something I did, the end. And then at this point, I was already kind of like breaking down a bit because the teaching in the UK the conditions were absolutely hideous. A lot of people were glamorizing the grinds in a way that I thought was absolutely wild. I had a person say to me one day, oh, I once painted in the classroom and that's fine. I just sat down and told the students to like chill. And I was like, yeah, but you shouldn't be saying that. You shouldn't be normalizing that. I had to go to work with migraines and like nobody really cared. No, it's what it is. These kids need you. And I was like, but do they really need to learn Spanish so desperately that I can't really like just lay down and like rest and get better? So at that point, having working like 60 plus hour weeks with only one day off really, because Sundays were for planning and stuff, I was burning out like massively. I was in the UK, away from my family, away from most of my friends. And I was like, what am I doing with my life? And one day I saw on Facebook, you're a Copywriting Academy Facebook ad. And I remember thinking that it was bizarre because I had never really thought, I didn't even know what copywriting was. I didn't understand the word. So I was like, what is this? And it was at a time when the pandemic started to appear. So I already had some experience of remote teaching, of content creation, like in very accessible terms for students and stuff of different levels. And I really liked being at home. I didn't really like having to spend half an hour every day putting on makeup and being like, oh, is my hair all right? Is it too greasy? Am I going to be told off? You know what? Working from home sounds great. Let's do it. And I got the CCA program in March 2021. That's when I first signed for it. And then in October that year, I was already working as a freelance copywriter for my first project, which is actually quite funny because I remember you saying, Nikki, at first when we were going through the lessons, you saying, oh, like the first project is probably going to double up the amount that you spend on the course. And I was thinking, yeah, right. Like that's actually a thing. But you actually doubled it up and then a little bit more on the side. And I was like, what is this? So it was also for the European branch of the World Health Organization. So I think, it was pretty intense to begin with because I was thinking, just give me something low stakes. And then these people appeared and they're like, hey, and I was like, no, but then, I did it. So there was that. It was like over a week for a campaign for alcohol awareness in Europe. I was like terrified throughout the whole process, but I did it. Nobody ever came back to say, this is awful, we hate it. So as far as I'm concerned, that's good news. So after the European World Health Organization, I got an intra contract with a pharmaceutical company that needed a copywriter. And I got a position there as a copywriter. Within 6 months, I was promoted to senior copywriter because they wanted a junior one. And they were very happy with the results. All the bases that we covered in the course were actually like not just beginner level, but also intermediate and also even advanced. Like the whole reason why I got the promotion was because I was talking about these things and I was showing them that I knew what I was doing. I wasn't just writing copy and saying, off you go, run with it. This is a draft. It was like, I've chosen this headline because here's the pain. And then, here's the benefit and here's this and here's that. I was there for another 8 months as a senior copywriter. And then I moved on to work with an agency that was based in Las Vegas. That was wild because it was a 9-hour difference in time zone. And then eventually I got this job in Spain, which is remote in a B2B SaaS company. And it's been, I'm not going to say it's been chaotic because that's not really the word I want to use, but it's definitely been quite a ride because when I first started, it was just the head of marketing and someone from social media and then me, but they didn't really had any strategy. They didn't really know what they were doing. It was all a bit of a mess. So within the 3 months there, I was promoted again to senior because they just got me as copywriter and full stop. And I was like, okay, well, I think I can bring more to the table than just being here doing this. So I started doing a strategy. I started doing editorial calendars, SEO research, and all these things. Looking at metrics as well, which is something that no one had ever looked at before. So I was like, okay. So in that sense, it was really, really good. And I managed to become a senior copywriter. And then this November, they've moved me to product marketer. It's absolutely wild because I think the best thing that I got out of this course, of course, which is the job that I have now and the ability to do this, is the fact that because of this course, I was able to actually come back home. In 2022, I was able to buy my first house and I'm able now to be close to my mom and to the friends that I have that remain in this village. And I even convinced my Irish boyfriend to move in with me. So that's actually really nice because I never thought I could come back home. I always thought that I was just doomed to be in the UK forever because the educational Spanish system is harder. So I wouldn't have been able to, I would have needed a lot of time to be able to make it here as a teacher. But I literally thought that I was just going to die in the UK because it was like, well, I came here 7 years ago and there's really nothing I can do at home. Like, it's just a whole life change really for me. Because at one point I thought I was never going to have kids because I didn't want to have them separate from my family. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to pursue a career. Like, all of these things, I was like, it's going to happen away from home. And now I'm here and my mom is just giving me Tupperwares full of food every other day. So, which is something we never thought could ever happen. So if it wasn't for these, I wouldn't be here today. So I really have that to thank you for because it means the world to me.